Your brim's not flat enough for it to be gangster radio, Ryan.
No sticker either.
Yeah, you got to have the sticker, or the thing has to still be in a bag. Or you got to have the lady that's sewing the Nike check in the hat on your head, and she's sewing the hat before it goes in the bag and gets the sticker.
That's a brand new hat. That's fresh.
Right?
Gangsta fresh.
Got the sweatshop worker still attached. Hey, listen to Commander Cookout Podcast, episode 56. I'm Brando. I'm here with Ryan, and today we're going to continue the Arc of Opposition Revisited with an absolutely 100% totally fair Orzhov list. Now hit our theme song! Hey Ryan, we're back for yet another whirlwind adventure. How you doing?
Good. What's going down?
A whole ton is going down. We are entering the last half of the second half of the Arc of Opposition with another difficult to construct opposite of what it's supposed to do deck.
Very much so, and always a challenge to do the opposition decks.
We've talked about this lots. You mentioned all the time how black is basically cheating at Magic, and I like to talk at length, loudly and angrily, about how white always cheats at Magic. So when you combine the two, you'd think that you would have a deck that's just totally crooked and broken and probably a super big pain in the ass. So what do we...
Yeah, we're going to talk about what that means in a couple minutes here. Before we do, social media coordinates?
Social media coordinates. We are CCO Podcast on Twitter and tappedout.net. That's where you can see this deck, last week's deck, next week's deck, and any other deck that we have talked about or will talk about in the future. We're also CCO Podcast on Twitter. We're commandercookout@gmail.com. That's where you can send us love mail, hate mail, show suggestions, deck lists, no nudes.
Well, you could send us nudes. I'm okay with this.
We're also Commander Cookout on YouTube, Patreon, iTunes, Google Play, Google Machine, edhrec.com, and Podomatic, where we still valiantly struggle to dethrone the scrapbooking ladies.
I think you forgot a place that you can now find Commander Cookout Podcast.
Where's that, Ryan?
FlipsideGaming.com.
FlipsideGaming.com. How could I possibly forget?
If you listened last week, you would have heard our promo piece on FlipsideGaming.com. We want to make sure that people go there, check out their stuff. They've got article series. Last week we talked about Wallet Warriors. I very much like it. It's budget. I like to play budget, or at least budget what I have. Right? That's Ryan budget. We talked about that
Ryan
before.
Budget. Yeah, I'm more of an F the budget kind of human, but yeah.
I'm sure they've got some stuff there that you can F the budget with. And speaking of the budget, you can still use promo code CCOFU at FlipsideGaming.com.
That's also the greatest promo code in the history of promo codes. Just saying. Yet another way we top the charts.
Whoa! Anyways, head to Flipside Gaming. You can find them on Facebook, FlipsideGaming.com. Use our promo code. You get 10% off store-wide on that promo code. And of course, they've got cards, sealed product, maybe some new Dominaria. Ooh. I'm doing like the finger tentacle-y thing.
I've never seen you more excited about a Magic set.
Oh, I'm actually pumped. And I was actually going to take advantage of the promo code on Flipside Gaming, but they are in the States, and you can't really ship sealed product across the border, but they do have singles, so I mean, you can get your singles there, along with gaming supplies, boxes, sleeves, what have you.
Dice,
maybe for the next CCO podcast deck giveaway.
Ooh.
Yeah, I think when we what's the patron at? When we hit 60 patrons or 75 patrons, we're going to do a deck giveaway per arc. That's like per month. So I guess get on it, CCO Nation. Just throwing that out there. Visit Flipside Gaming, like them on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you get your Magic content. Add them to your repertoire because, I like them.
Not too bad.
Additional shoutouts. New patron, Spencer Radcliffe. Funny nickname?
We'll get back to you, Spencer. We're not going to forget about you. We'll get to you.
We're going to think about that. The next three are actually really easy.
Ooh.
New patron. I'm going to butcher it, but it's because I'm going to make a funny nickname out of it. Sideburn Vizier? Sideburn Vizier.
Yeah.
He is the vizier of sideburns.
If you actually have sideburns, do send us a picture. Tweet at us at CCO Podcast. Do it.
Next shout out. James. Just James. Like no last name.
Thanks, Jimmy.
No last name James.
Ooh.
Yeah, I like that.
James, no last name. I like that.
No name James. Okay. Last one. This was his Patreon name. He emailed me after, but I like his Patreon name better than his real name. So
Excellent.
F your real name. Deezer_. Irons.
Wow.
I almost want to say no nickname.
That is a nickname.
Deezer.
Deezer Iron. Deez here irons.
Yes.
I think he likes golf, or he's a blacksmith, one of the two.
Or he likes to iron clothes.
Nobody likes to iron clothes.
Yeah.
And people who say they do, they lie. They're liars.
It can be satisfying. I don't know.
I don't know if I've never ironed a shirt in my life, and I'm okay with that. I have ironed perler beads though. Lots of fun.
I don't know what that means.
Those are those little like 8-bit characters that are made out of like little
Oh
plastic
yeah,
things.
that's you iron those. That's how you get those to stick together.
Yeah, you melt them with the heat of the iron. The more you know.
There you go. Spencer Radcliffe needs a nickname.
Yes, he does. We're drawing a blank. CCO Nation, bonus giveaway. Uh-oh. Nickname, funny nickname for Spencer Radcliffe. Get at us on Facebook, PM us, funny nicknames, we'll get you back. We'll get you a nickname next show, Spencer. And whoever comes up with the proper one, we'll send you something from the Ryan's foil box and my foil bag.
Yep.
You help us out, we'll hook you up.
Like it. Bonus giveaways. Throwing it down. Show topic?
Show topic.
What are we doing?
Totally fair Orzhov.
What the hell does that mean?
I have no idea. You're the one that built the deck.
Oh.
Yeah, let's-
When you look at Orzhov, we're talking about black and white, the combination of black and white in a deck list. Brando says that he hates white because white cheats.
Totally does.
Now, what I think that he means is white is a color in Magic that can do, let's say, most things.
Everything.
It has some big creatures, although you're paying a hefty price for those big creatures. It's got angels. That's like the premier tribe, right? You could do beatdown. We've done an angel tribal beatdown list.
Sure did.
Those pieces of crap over at CMDR Central are doing an angel tribal Atraxa list for Vegas.
Scumbags.
Yeah. You can do that. They've got token strategies, soldiers, cats, whatever. They've got equipment strategies, Voltron they can do. They can do reanimate. For purposes of this show, we're going to call it reincarnation. So you can kind of create some separation in your mind from what white does versus what black does.
'Cause it's the same.
It kind of is. White can reincarnate right onto the battlefield for a little bit of a premium over what black can do, but they can still do it. Instead of costing 1 or 2, it costs 4, 5, 6 mana to bring back to the battlefield. But they can do it. And that difference in converted mana cost isn't always a huge deal in Commander. They have creature removal, artifact and enchantment removal, so they can kind of do everything. Mostly, though, white is lacking that instant win kind of combo. There's not really any very powerful, super synergistic ways to just immediately win the game in white. And also, it doesn't really draw cards that well in white. There's some artifact ways that you have to run, just like running red or whatever, but everything else white can do.
Very well.
When you look at black, I say that black cheats at Magic because black does all of the same stuff that I just talked about with white, except it can draw cards usually at the cost of life. And who cares? You got 40 of that. It only matters when you have one, right? New players, life only matters when you have one.
Yeah.
Just throwing that out there. The only thing black can't do, save for like 2 cards in all of Magic, is destroy artifacts.
And enchantments.
And enchantments. It actually, I don't think it can hit enchantments.
I don't think it can either.
CCO Nation, let us know if you know a card in black that says destroy target enchantment on it.
I don't think there is one.
I just don't think that there is one. So when you combine these two colors, I think that you don't have any holes in your strategy. You've got all the best removal in the game. You've got, and that includes enchantments and artifact removal because you're playing white. You can combo in black. You can draw cards in black. You can infect in black. You can pay life for damage in black, a la Hatred or Unspeakable Symbol. Like, there's lots of ways to just combo out right now. And Wizards is really supporting that black-white life gain deck, which is it turns out it's a pretty good strategy in Commander because, I mean, you can pay life and you have lots of it, then you can gain lots of it back.
And lots of people are playing for fun, so they don't want to play that insta-win combo, so it's tough to deal with somebody when they're at 700 life.
So when we're talking about that black-white life gain deck, I'm looking at the top 3 commanders on EDHREC.com. I'm looking at Ailey Eternal Pilgrim. She got Death Touch and she does some removal-y type stuff for 2 mana. I'm looking at Karlov of the Ghost Council for 2 mana, and he does some life gainy stuff and removal. And I'm looking at Athreos, God of Passage, for 3 mana, and he's indestructible and does some life gainy and graveyard stuff, right? I'm seeing 2 trends. I'm seeing cheap commanders and I'm seeing things that do removally, life-gainy, graveyard shenanigan stuff.
You're seeing cheap commanders. So there's cheap commanders and there's cheap commanders.
They sound cheap.
And these are both.
So if we can abuse the graveyard at a very low cost and recur lots of things while gaining and paying life as a resource instead of mana, that seems fairly broken. Have you ever heard of Necropotence? Pay a life, draw a card on an enchantment. Sort of. That's kind of what it does. But
For 3.
For 3 mana. That's one of the best card draw spells in the game. And it goes right in these decks.
Does it go in this deck, Ryan?
It doesn't.
And why is that?
Because it's totally fair.
There we go. Now, totally fair, I don't think, looking at the list a little bit before we started recording the show, totally fair doesn't mean strictly worse.
No, you're
See,
right.
If I was building this deck, I would have gone the strictly worse route. Because Path is the best. In most cases, it's the best. So you play Terror instead.
Okay, I like that.
That's the route I would have went. But that's not the route that you necessarily trod down.
I tried to stay true to the arc of opposition roots in doing something that is the opposite of what you would think. This is what part of what totally fair means. I didn't include things like Infect, where you can just cut somebody's life total in a quarter and hit them for 10 and they lose. I didn't include all of the awesome black card draw in Pay a Life, Draw a Card. Too easy. I didn't include Pay life for extra damage a la Hatred or Unspeakable Symbol, like I just mentioned. And then the other part of what totally fair means, or opposite means, is instead of the really cheap, inexpensive reanimation in black, I used that more expensive reanimation for white. Instead of the black card draw, I used white card draw, right? It's going to highlight some cards that you wouldn't necessarily think of, and it's not going to be totally broken ass busted.
Sounds very CCO.
I think that it is. I think that once you go through it, you're going to see, oh, look at that. Look at this. That's cool. Never heard of that.
I dig it.
Okay.
Shall we get into it?
One more thing.
Oh.
That Lord of Tressorhorn deck I've been working on for months and months.
Yep.
This is kind of like that deck. I really enjoy playing it. It plays some really bad cards, which I think is totally funny. And I wanted to highlight some of the types of cards I use in that deck in this list we talk about today.
Ooh.
Yeah, you'll see what I mean when we get there.
How about before we start with the creatures, let's read the most important creature in the deck, our general.
Sure.
Let's see, who do we got? We got Vishkal the Blood Arbiter?
Never heard of her.
Well, let me enlighten you, Ryan. Vishkal the Blood Arbiter is a 5/5 flying lifelink vampire for 4 white, black. And she says, sacrifice a creature, put X +1/+1 counters on Vishkal Blood Arbiter, where X is the sacrificed creature's power, period. New paragraph. Remove all +1/+1 counters from Vishkal Blood Arbiter. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn for each +1/+1 counter removed this way. So she's a removal spell and a giant Voltron beat stick.
You know what's funny? I said never heard of her, and then you called her a girl like 3 times.
Is Vishkal not a girl?
No, it's a boy.
How can you tell?
He doesn't have boobs. I don't know.
Whatever. Vishkal is now a girl. And if he has a problem with that, he can come to my house and she can have a polite conversation with me.
And you'll kick her ass.
That's right.
Okay, so from Commander 2011, suffers from the Commander 2011 problem unless you're Animar or Kalia of the Vast, in that you're a 5/5 flying lifelinker for 7,000 mana. Okay, fine.
That makes her fair, because if she was a 5/5 for 5, she'd be broken as hell.
Probably wouldn't be the general of totally fair Orzhov.deck.
Exactly.
So let's get into it. 5/5 flying lifelinker. Whenever you bin a creature, sacrifice a creature.
It's power worth of +1/+1 counters on her.
That's right. Then, the important part, remove all +1s to give that many minuses to target creature.
Until end of turn.
Yeah, and it's not like remove one, give one. It's remove all of them. Target creature gets that much smaller. So you got to remove all of them.
Right.
Okay.
That sounds a little bit more fair. All right, let's start this pain train rolling here with an Addarkar Valkyrie.
Addarkar Valkyrie, 4/5 flying vigilance for 6. Tap it to reanimate a dude. Reincarnate a dude if it were to die.
Antler Skullkin?
Yeah, no shit, hey? 3/3 Scarecrow for 5. 2, like its ability is 2, target white creature gains persist until end of turn.
Persist?
Yeah, persist. So when it would die, if it has persist, it comes back from your graveyard with a -1/-1 counter on it.
Let's just save some dudes.
When you sacrifice a dude to Vishkal, you put a +1 on him, negating the -1. It makes it, they cancel out. So you can continuously persist him. Now, if you could make infinite mana in the deck, there is, of course, shenanigans with that, but you can't make infinite mana. So it's fair.
How about Blister Grub?
When it dies, each opponent loses 2 life. That is a Lord of Tressorhorn special.
And you don't have any kind of infinite sack shenanigans with him?
Well, you do with Vishkal.
Uh-huh.
And I guess you could give him... Oh, no, he's not white, so you can't give him persist.
Excellent.
Yeah.
How about Carrier Thrall?
When it dies, you get a Eldrazi Scion that you can sacrifice for a mana.
No infinite sack shenanigans?
Well, he's not...
Cathodian.
When he dies, you add 3 to your mana pool.
I'm going to pose my question again, Ryan. Do you have any infinite sack shenanigans? Let's just say to infinitely persist your Vishkal?
Shut up.
Mm-hmm. How about Caustic Hound?
When it dies, each player loses 4 life.
See the previous 3 cards? Death Curse Ogre.
When it dies, each player loses 3 life.
Dire Fleet Hoarder.
When it dies, you get a treasure that you can sacrifice for any color mana.
So that's another infinite mana engine there.
No, because you can't give it persist.
But you can sacrifice it infinitely.
If you could get it back.
Let's see if we can. Doomed Dissenter.
When it dies, you get a black 2/2 zombie.
Doomed Traveler.
These doomed guys, they suck. When it dies, you get a 1/1 white spirit with flying.
Driver of the Dead.
Okay, I admit, this time I did cheat. This is a reanimation spell in black. When he dies, you get a creature from your graveyard with converted mana cost 2 or less back to the battlefield. And thus far, you could get Doomed Traveler, you could get Doomed Dissenter, you could get Dire Fleet, what's his name? Hoarder. You could get Carrier Thrall. I think there's a couple others so far that let you kind of reuse that when they die effect.
Filigree Familiar.
Oh, this guy's a little cool. When he enters the battlefield, you gain 2 life. He's a 2/2 for 3. When he dies, draw a card. So kind of reminiscent of Solemn Simulacrum.
He's a shitty Solemn Simulacrum.
Yeah.
How about Gleaming Barrier?
When it dies, you get another one of those treasure tokens. He's a 0/4 defender.
Harvester of Souls.
When another non-token creature dies, draw a card. 5/5 Death Touch for 6. I like him.
Machias the Unhallowed.
Shit. That might be a combo.
Huh.
I didn't mean for this to happen. I swear.
Uh-huh.
I actually didn't.
Uh-huh.
Let's give him a read. He's a 5/5 zombie cleric, intimidate for black, 3. He's really hard to cast. We got a crappy mana base because it's a fair mana base.
Right.
Okay. And whenever a human dies, deals damage to you, destroy it. Whenever a human deals damage to you, destroy it. And other non-human creatures you control have undying. So whenever they die, they come back with a +1/+1 counter on them.
Mm-hmm.
I think you can sacrifice Vishkal to himself and he comes back with a counter. And then you can remove the counter to give something -1/-1 and then sacrifice him to himself. He comes back with a counter.
Uh-huh.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Oops, we'll cut him.
I guess that's the episode.
Yeah. Totally fair Orzhov. Can't be done. Let's see.
Let's keep moving because the deck list is actually fun.
Noxious Toad.
Noxious Toad. If you have this, kudos, because it's from Portal. When it dies, all your opponents discard a card from their hand. Now, usually discard one card isn't good, but if you can get a Noxious Toad out, like to die a couple times a turn, and you can hit everybody's hand for like 2 or 3 cards.
And if you could persist it back a whole bunch of times in the same turn and just...
I could think of worse things to do.
Yeah, definitely. Solemn Simulacrum.
Oh, yeah. We were just talking about him. When he dies, draw a card. When he enters the battlefield, search for a land, put into play, tapped. Basic.
Tattered Mummy.
Tattered Mummy. Okay. Oh! Hold on a sec. I actually forgot to in the shoutouts. I got so excited I didn't even know what to say. Shout out to Max Crandell.
Yeah, I hate you, Max Crandell.
But shout out to him.
What?
Because he totally pulled through and got me the Bontu's Last Reckoning playmat.
Really?
Yeah, so every single time we've asked to buy or sell or trade something to CCO Nation, they've totally come through clutch.
That's really true. Speaking of Macias, I just sent my Japanese Macias off in the mail the other day.
Very excellent. CCO Nation, we want to keep the trade train rolling. If you have tattered mummies, I want them.
Just all of them.
Yes. Let's give them a read.
Tattered Mummy is a 1/2 zombie jackal for black and 1. When Tattered Mummy dies, each opponent loses 2 life.
Of note, his creature type is zombie. It goes right into Balthor the Defiled combo list we did a couple weeks back.
Right.
I don't have any because it came only in the Liliana deck from Amonkhet. It wasn't in the set. Its collector number is one of those collector numbers that's higher than the number of cards in the set because it wasn't in the set proper.
It was one of those janky Planeswalker decks.
Yeah.
Where they give you like a shitty version of the
Yes.
commander that's in the set. Yeah.
So I've tried to either buy them online, but when I do an order, they're sold out or nobody has them. And I'm not going to pay like $20 just for a 5-cent shitty tattered mummy. So CCO Nation, if you got them, let's do a trade. Get
Also,
at us on Facebook or Twitter.
And Max Grandel, extra special shout out to you for getting that playmat for Ryan. We'll be taking it over your dead body.
Actually, he's sending it to me in the mail. I'll bring it to Vegas, and I'm going to roll it up, and I'm going to hit him with it. But secretly rolled up inside of it's going to be a pipe.
There we go.
All right. A little bit of padding for you, Max, on that pipe with that playmat that you sent me.
Thanks, bud. Got a couple more creatures we're going to touch on here. We skipped over them just to keep the flow going. We got Drana, Liberator of Malakir.
Ooh, she's actually a good creature. Black 1 for a flying first strike 2/3. Whenever Drana Liberator of Malakir deals combat damage to a player, put a +1/+1 counter on each attacking creature you control. So kind of keeps with the +1/+1 counter theme of Vishkal. And our next card that we're going to go to,
Alenda the Duskrose.
Oh, yes. 1/1 lifelinker for black 2. I have this deck. Whenever another creature dies, and you heard all the creatures that die in this deck.
All of them.
Especially with our sack outlet. You put a +1/+1 counter on her. Then when she dies, you get vampires equal to the number of +1 counters that were on her. So you sack all of your dudes to Vishkal, and each opponent loses a whole ton of life, right? Because all the creatures trigger life loss abilities. Alenda the Duskrose gets super big. Then you sacrifice her to Vishkal, and now Vishkal's like a 20/20. You swing in and kill somebody, and then you sacrifice Alenda the Duskrose to get whatever 21 ones. You sack all those to Vishkal, then you sacrifice Vishkal to kill all the creatures, or remove all the counters to kill all the creatures. So he's kind of like a built-in wrath, built-in kind of creature remover type guy.
And you just do that over and over again with Macias.
You could.
Yeah. All right.
We got a couple more creatures here still.
Ravos Soul Tender.
I guess you do it over and over once per turn. He is a 1/2/2 flyer for 5. Other creatures you control get +1/+1. Not counters, but a buff. It's good if you're beaten in.
He's an Anthem effect.
Yeah. And at the beginning of your upkeep, you may return a creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Just to your hand.
Just to your hand.
Yeah, so he kind of reincarnates, but it's to your hand. Then we've got Patron of the Vein, 4/4 flying vampire shaman for black 4. When he enters the battlefield, you destroy target creature an opponent controls, and whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, all vampires get +1/+1 counter.
Dang.
And Vishkal is a vampire.
I believe Alex used him, F.U. Alex, to ruin somebody the last time we played with him.
Patron of the Vein.
Yeah.
Yeah, because he's got that...
exile on the way to the graveyard. Because whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, you exile it instead.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And then Patron of the Vein puts a counter on everything you have.
Yeah.
Okay.
He goes good in the experience counter guy, the elf. Not Azuri, the other guy. Marin, that's him.
Clan Neltoth. Yeah, F that deck.
Yeah.
Last
Marin
creature.
Clan my ball sack.
Yeah, gross.
Noosegraph Mob.
Noosegraph, another 6-drop. So we got lots of 6-drops in this deck, eh? Black 4 for a 0/0 zombie. Better be good. Enters the battlefield with 5 +1/+1 counters on it. So there's some +1s, right? Kind of a theme. Whenever a player casts a spell, remove a +1, you get a 2/2 zombie onto the battlefield. So when it dies, if you have some way to give it undying, let's say with Macias, he just always comes back with a +1 counter on him. because somebody will cast a spell when he's got his +1 counter on him, and he removes it and gets a zombie, then he dies and comes back with Machias. So kind of some longevity in there without actually reanimating him.
Yeah.
He just kind of comes back.
He just kind of comes back for free and gives you a 2/2 guy every time he dies. Totally fair, Orzhov.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Instants and sorceries. So we got 4 instants, and we kind of got some typical ones and some atypical ones. Let's do the typical ones first. We've got
How about Mortify?
Mortify. Destroy target creature or enchantment for black, white 1.
How about Hero's Downfall?
Destroy target creature or planeswalker for black, black 1.
Now we're into some different looking stuff. How about
Yeah.
Graceful Reprieve?
Graceful Reprieve? What? White 1. When target creature dies this turn, return that card to the battlefield under your control. So if it's gonna die, you return it to the battlefield.
Under its owner's control.
Yeah, that's fine. You just target your own thing with it when somebody kills it or when you sacrifice it so you immediately get it back.
How about this one? Cauldron Haze.
Cauldron Haze. Bonus points to anybody who remembers this. This is Orzhov Hybrid 1. So it's 2 mana total for an instant. Choose any number of target creatures. Each of those creatures gains persist until end of turn. So you could choose all your die trigger guys, sacrifice them all, get them all back, sacrifice them all again, have a huge Vishkal and swing in.
Do you know where that haze comes from, right?
Haze. Where
Yeah.
does it come from?
The Cauldron of Souls.
Ooh, may or may not be in this deck.
That's where the cauldron's haze, the haze comes out of the Cauldron of Souls, which is an artifact that does the same thing.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's right.
So just kind of a neat little fact there.
Yeah, we'll talk about that as soon as we're done the sorceries.
Let's go on to some sorceries. We'll start with Decree of Pain.
Gotta have those wrath spells, right? Destroy all creatures, draw a card for each creature destroyed. Note, you're not paying life to draw cards, right? You're
Right.
killing stuff. Particular note in this deck, I really like Decree of Pain alongside Toxic Deluge because you can cycle for black 3 Decree of Pain to draw a card, and all creatures get -2/-2. Keeps your Vishkal alive.
Sure.
And you can sacrifice all your guys in response that are going to die to make Vishkal big. And you can do the same thing with Toxic Deluge. Just pay X life and give everybody -X until end of turn. You can keep Vishkal alive. Super important in these kind of beater Voltron decks.
So open the vaults.
6 mana, return all artifacts, enchantments, and creatures.
Just artifacts and enchantments.
I'm okay with this. Lots of enchantments in this deck.
We'll get to those in a bit. Phyrexian Tribute.
Phyrexian Tribute. We're breaking the mold here. These Phyrexians, they're super innovative. Sorcery, black 2, sacrifice 2 creatures. We want them to die anyways. Destroy target artifact. Gem. Gem from Mirage, of all places.
Replenish.
Replenish. White 3, return all enchantments from your graveyard to the battlefield.
Important distinction between that and open the vaults. Open the vaults is for everyone. Replenish is just for you. And it costs 2 less, making it totally fair.
It's in the potential cut section. It's pretty expensive.
Resurrection.
I do not know what's going on in this art here, but I'm sure that the Catholic Church would not appreciate it.
Don't Google that.
Yeah. Return target creature from your graveyard to the battlefield. White 2.
That is not what that card says.
Oh, it says
Ryan.
return it to play.
Yeah.
To play.
Read it right, noob. Toxic Deluge.
3 mana, pay X life, all creatures get -X until end of turn. It's a wrath.
Should be Wrath. How about Unburial Rites?
5 mana, reanimate a dude in black, but important, flashback it for white. So you can actually get 2 creatures.
Right, because, yeah.
Let's give white the graveyard spell with the dead zombie on it. What's one of my favorite cards? Had to play it.
How about the totally fair and in no way broken Vindicate?
I don't think it's unfair or broken. Sorcery, black, white 1, destroy target permanent. Period.
At least it's not an instant.
Yeah, then it would be Anguished Unmaking. Mind you, you'd lose some life. Totally fair. If you have like 2 life, you can't cast it.
True.
Mind you, in this deck, you're not going to have
Yeah, you're
just
never
2
gonna
life
have
because
2
you're
life.
never paying or going up and down in life. So maybe Anguished Unmaking is okay.
All right, where should we go now? Let's do the artifacts. We already teased them, so let's just get in there. We'll start with Sol Ring.
Taps for 2.
Orzhov Keyrune.
3 mana, taps for white or black, or you could pay white, black, and it becomes a 1/4 white and black thrall artifact creature. Weird.
With lifelink.
Huh.
How about the Orzhov Cluestone?
3 mana, taps for white or black, white, black, sack, draw a card.
Mindstone.
2 mana, taps for 1, 1 tap, sack, draw a card.
Commander Sphere.
3 mana, taps for any color that your commander needs, sack it, draw a card.
Talked about this already. Cauldron of Souls.
Tap it, choose any number of creatures, they gain persist. That means if they die, they come back with a -1 on them.
That card is the whole deck in Hirobi. Ooh. So good.
Because you just choose everybody else's stuff.
Yep. And they don't get persist and they eat shit.
Oh, excellent.
So good. Blade of the Butt Cheek.
Ooh. 1 drop, equips for 1. Super efficient. Whenever a creature dies, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature. If equipped creature is a vampire, put 2 +1s on it. Super good with Vishkal.
Yeah.
Turns into a huge beater. And staple in vampire decks. We could easily turn this into a vampire deck.
Right. And lastly, we have Death Render.
I think that this card is underplayed. 4 mana, equips for 2. Equipped creature gets +2/+2. Cool, fine, right? When equipped creature dies, you may put a creature from your hand onto the battlefield and attach Death Render to it. It's a way in white to get around those huge converted mana costs. Like, I'm thinking like Iona and Avacyn, Rhea Dawnbringer, that new guy from Dominaria that lets you switch your life total with her power. You can get around the huge mana costs and it's like white ramp.
So you're saying at the cost of making your general bigger and doing 4 damage to your opponents, you could play a creature for free? That sounds totally fair.
Well, if you're playing white, I mean, you need all the help you can get. I don't think white's that good.
You're playing it with black, Ryan.
Oh, yeah. Maybe we cut all the black. No, we never cut the black. It's too good. So those are the artifacts. We got some bomb-ass enchantments, and we got some terrible ones.
Okay, let's start with one of these bomb-ass, totally fair ones in Cather's Crusade.
5 mana. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield, put a +1 on each of your other creatures. Sounds excellent with persist.
Yeah, it totally does.
Because the persist back into play, and they put a +1/+1 counter on themselves, and the -1 just goes away, so
and
you can persist
sack
forever.
them infinitely. Oh, you can!
Wowee! Oh, we got there. Dang.
Next up, we have Citadel Siege.
Okay, so this is a siege from one of the Khans sets. Enters the battlefield, you could choose Khans or Dragons. Khans, at the beginning of your upkeep, you put 2 +1s on a creature you control. If you hit Dragons, at the beginning of combat on each of your turns, tap target creature that player controls.
Each of your opponent's turns.
Oh,
when your opponents start their combat, you can tap one of their dudes.
Each opponent's turn. Oh yeah, okay. So they can't attack you.
Yeah.
So it either puts you on the offensive with a +2 buff every turn, or it puts you on the defensive by tapping one of their guys.
It turns off that Voltron general across the table.
Yeah, I think that's the only time in this deck that you would pick that is if you're up against a Voltron, right?
How about Corrupted Zendikon?
Here's a piece of shit. Black 1 enchant land. Enchanted land is a 3/3 black ooze. Should have went ooze tribal.
Oh, yeah.
Dang.
Oh, we missed one.
When enchanted land is put into the graveyard, return it to its owner's hand. So it's a 3/3 for 2, right? Eats up one of your lands, but when it dies, it goes back to your hand. You just sacrifice it. It comes back to your hand so you can play it again. So you sacrifice to Vishkal to give him a +3 buff when you need a land drop to just drop a land. Or you can attack with it, then sacrifice it, and then play it again. So you have an attacker, and then you can have a land drop for a land untap, hold removal up.
Totally fair.
It's only a 3/3. Here's another piece of crap.
Daily Regimen.
What the hell? It's a 1-drop enchantment. White 1, put a +1 counter on enchanted creature. +1/+1.
That's pretty bad, yeah.
Yeah.
How about Debtor's Knell?
Orzhov 4. At the beginning of your upkeep, put a creature from your graveyard onto the battlefield.
Totally fair.
It's got white. It's reincarnation, man.
Elend Umbra.
Gives him totem armor for 2 mana and a +0/+4. So totem armor, explain totem armor.
Totem armor is when if a creature that's enchanted with totem armor would die, you kill the enchantment that's giving him totem armor instead.
And you keep your guy alive.
And your guy's alive.
So it gives him like 2 lives.
It's like a 1-up mushroom.
Okay.
How about Eternal Thirst?
Another 2-drop enchantment. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets lifelink, and whenever a creature an opponent controls dies, put a +1/+1 counter on enchanted creature. So you Vishkal all of his counters off to kill a creature, then he gets a +1/+1 counter for free from Eternal Thirst. It kills all of the 1/1s.
So it turns him into a goblin sharpshooter.
Yes. Orzhov can even play red.
Totally fair. We have Feast of the Fallen, or Feast on the Fallen, I should say.
Feast on the Fallen looks like a Renaissance painting, A. B, it's a 3-drop enchantment at the beginning of your upkeep. If an opponent had lost life that last turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control.
Neat.
We don't really have any ways to just make somebody lose life. I suppose, like, if you wanted to play, like, Pestilence, I mean, you can just attack, whatever, but...
How about Felidar Umbra?
Another totem armor one gives them lifelink, and you can pay 2 to attach it to a different creature. So you can move it around.
It's neat. I like that card. Gift of Immortality.
3-drop. When enchanted creature dies, return it to play at the end of your turn and return Gift of Immortality to your hand.
At the beginning of the next end step.
Yes.
So you actually can't infinitely attach that one.
Correct. So far, all of these white enchantments, like Gift of Immortality and the Umbras, they're to keep Vishkal alive, right?
Let's keep it going with Hyena Umbra.
Gives him total armor, +1/+1, first strike for 1 mana.
How about Indestructibility?
Gives Vishkal indestructible for 4 mana. Means he can't die.
An old piece of shit called Infinite Authority.
White, enchant creature. After that, don't remember what it does. And its text is so small that Brando's face is literally like 2 inches from the computer screen.
It says, all creatures with toughness 3 or less blocking target creature or blocked by target creature are destroyed at the end of combat. Period. At the end of the turn, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature for each creature destroyed in this manner during the turn. Counters remain on creatures even if the enchantment leaves play.
So basically, you enchant your thing with, what is it called? Infinite Authority?
Infinite Authority.
And anything that's small that blocks it and dies, you get counters for.
Excellent.
You get counters for people who chump block. Right?
Excellent.
So you gotta block with something substantial.
Inheritance.
Oh, we talked about this guy a little while ago. White mana, when a creature dies, pay 3, draw a card. That's white, draw a card.
Yep.
I like that.
It's a white card draw. White breaking that color pie. Mammoth Umbra.
5 mana, +3/+3 in vigilance, totem armor.
Ordeal of Erebos.
Here's a weird one. Black 1, enchanted creature attacks, put a +1/+1 counter on it. Then if it had 3 or more, sacrifice Ordeal of Erebos. When you sacrifice Ordeal of Erebos, target player discards 2 cards. Interesting, kind of a little bit janky, but if you can get your Ordeal of Erebos with Open the Vaults or Replenish, Vishkal's gonna have a bunch of counters on him, so you can hit somebody's hand for like
A couple cards.
like twice in a row.
It's all right.
You can decimate somebody's hand, especially if it's like mid to late game when they only have a couple cards in hand left. That's when you have Vishkal out and attack and get the counters and then hit their last 2 cards in their hand.
How about Ordeal of Heliod?
Same thing. When enchanted creature attacks, put a +1 on it. When it has 3 or more counters on it, you sacrifice it. When you sacrifice it, you gain 10 life. You could gain 10 life twice in a turn.
Retribution of the Ancients.
Kind of turns everybody into Vishkal. So black, and then you pay black, remove X +1s from among creatures you control. Target creature gets -X until end of turn.
It's another tremendous card in Hirobi. Also, kind of negates Vishkal's downside of having to remove all of the counters.
Oh, yeah.
It's like filling a hole in your game.
I like it.
Totally fair.
And with Cathar's Crusade, that's what I was thinking of when I put it in there, is with Cathar's Crusade, you can just remove counters from dudes and get little cheap kill spells every once in a little while.
It's another good way to recur things that have Unearth or Undying, because, that way you can sack them again for more effects. How about Sadistic Glee?
Tempest favorite, I'm sure. Black for an enchant creature. Whenever a creature is put into the graveyard from play, put a +1/+1 counter on enchanted creature. So you could remove all the counters from Vishkal to kill a dude and then get a counter back. That actually turns him into another goblin sharpshooter. Kill a 1/1, he gets a counter back. Kill a 1/1, he gets counter back.
Yep.
Like it.
Let's talk about tremendous magic art for just a second.
This is so weird.
When we talk about Vampiric Embrace.
What the hell is going?
It's a crazy mouth and it's some crazy eyeballs and there's like an axe going through something's head.
This is Brando's next tattoo.
Yes.
Full back piece.
It's tremendous. My back's already covered. But chest piece. My nipples can go where the eyes are.
They're not at even heights.
Neither are my nipples. Don't Google that.
Google Vampiric Embrace because F me. Like, it's good.
It's cool.
Black 2 enchant creature from Urza's Saga. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 and gains flying. Cool. Whenever a creature successfully dealt combat damage by enchanted creature this turn is put into the graveyard, put a +1/+1 counter on enchanted creature. It gives him Vampire. That was the ability on Singer Vampire of old, and they kind of just made everything a Singer Vampire with that card.
And lastly, we have Vampiric Rites.
Black for an enchantment. Black 1, sack a dude. Gain a life, draw a card.
So you pay some mana and life to draw cards. In black.
No, you pay a dude and some mana to gain a life and draw a card. It's the opposite of what black normally does. Did I get it?
No.
Onto the lands. We've got a fairly budget mana base. We're going to blow through it quickly as a result. Standard black-white land package, right? Your Caves of Quailos, your Orzhov Basilica, Opal Palace.
Evolving Wilds. All this stuff that you kind of expect in a deck like this. Although you don't have any of the lands I was expecting you were going to use with that enchantment that turns your land into a slime. So you could sack the land to get it back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking you were going to have like a strip mine. Or
I guess you could do that.
You could do that if you were a dirt sandwich.
We are playing Westvale Abbey.
Westvale Abbey's one where you sack 5 dudes and it comes back transformed as like some giant dude.
Yeah, I like that. We're playing High Market. That's another one where you sacrifice a creature to gain a life. But other than that, and Rogue's Passage, CCO staple for sure.
It gives your Voltron General that unblockability.
Absolutely. It's good when he's an infinite, I guess.
Yeah.
By accident.
Yeah.
My bad.
Totally by accident.
It was. I just got the look. Moving on. Some of the other stats that we track in the deck, card draw, there's 9 card draw spells. And I guess, can we infinite card draw?
Yes.
We found a way to make infinite colorless mana with Cathodian. Oh, yeah, we've got a Harvester of Souls. That'll infinite card draw you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
We also have infinite Direfleet Hoarder for infinite colored mana.
Oh,
we have
yeah,
infinite
that's right.
card draw on Solemn Simulacrum and Filigree Familiar. Filigree Familiar also gains you infinite life. Solemn Simulacrum also finds every basic out of your deck and puts it into play while you're drawing the entire thing.
We also have infinite mana with that stupid 0/4 wall that gives you a treasure.
Yep. So we got infinite mana, infinite draw, infinite land.
We also have infinite life-linking dudes from Elenda.
And infinite damage. Totally fair.
Where do we get infinite damage?
Infinite damage from Carrier Thrall.
Oh, no, from Blister Grub and Caustic Hound and
Yeah.
Tattered Mummy.
Yep.
Get at me, CCO Nation. Okay, so we have infinite card draw, targeted removal. Well, if you count hand discard, we've got infinite that. Otherwise, we have 7. Mass removal, we've got infinite that, but if you don't count that, we've got 2. Ramp spells, we normally would just have Solemn Simulacrum, but we have infinite that. Mana, Rocks, and Dorks, normally we would have 6 of them, but because we found this infinite combo, like the whole deck, we have infinite Mana, Rocks, and Dorks. Okay. Die Trigger Creatures, this is how we do it all. 15 of them. So very reminiscent of Lord of Tressorhorn. Maybe I'll post it up someday, all right?
Yeah, it's a cool deck.
It's fun.
It's very fun.
Super fun deck. Mass Reincarnation. We got 5 of those spells, but really, targeted reincarnation. That would be like our reanimate effects. Normally we'd have 8, but we got 6 ways to keep Vishkal alive.
It's pretty good.
And really, that's only a hard 6. Other than
giving him persist for the
I honestly didn't mean to do that.
It's an easy cut. It's Cathar's Crusade is what's doing all of this damage, and I suppose.
Cauldron of Souls or Soldier's Cauldron Mist or whatever.
It's Cathar's Crusade and Retribution of the Ancients. If you cut those 2 cards, it takes all of the infinite combos out. Cathar's Crusade enables all of them.
Well,
Retribution of the Ancients enables all of them if one of them is infinite mana.
And Machias.
Yeah, Machias.
That'll do it too.
Yeah.
And anything that dies and it gives you mana. With anything that gives it persist.
Yeah.
Well, maybe we move to the potential cuts and budget section just to keep the show moving. We go back to Machias there. He's $30. He doesn't have any other reprint like ever from Dark Ascension forward. So maybe instead of him, we could run Undying Evil. That's an enchant creature for, I think, black, gives enchanted creature undying. Really, I just wanted to keep Vishkal alive. That's why I put Machias in there. And with like all those Umbras and indestructibility and shit, that was there to keep Vishkal alive.
Okay.
Okay, so Undying Evil.
What about the white Machias? I don't know what he does, but you could play him.
X to put, he comes into the battlefield with X +1/+1s on him, and you can tap him and move X counters to another creature.
Also could go in the deck.
I think so.
Could go.
Cut the black one, put the white one in. Okay. Replenish is $45 because it was only printed in Urza's Legacy, and then it had a gold bordered printing, but that.
And they reprinted it as Open the Vaults because Replenish was broken.
Yeah. And, we're not playing any tutors, so maybe you could cut Replenish and put in your one tutor to find, like, your Undying Evil or your Umbra enchantment or something, right?
Or you could play Idyllic Tutors so you could find your Cathar's Crusade to enable all your combos.
Very
Ryan?
much so.
Yeah.
I don't mind that.
Yeah.
We're playing a Command Beacon as well.
Command Beacon is the land. It came in one of the 15 commander decks. I think 2015, 2016. You sack it to put your commander from the command zone in your hand.
Yeah, the 2015 decks. That's right.
Yeah. So it only was printed the one time, I think.
Yeah, and it's $33 as a result.
Mm-hmm. And it's very good when your command tax has become ridiculous, like it would on Vishkal since she already costs 7.
That's right. And if you can avoid that commander tax at least once, great. If you have the budget for it, you stick a Crucible of Worlds in here. That's the combo, so you never have to pay command tax.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Yeah.
But, if we're trying to save money, we're not just going to drop a Crucible of Worlds into our deck.
I have one of these. I should put it in Omnath Wrecking Ball.
Yeah.
Because, wait, that game last week, on Tuesday where I was paying, like, what was it? I paid 18 to bring him back.
Oh, yeah.
And I brought him back every turn and made like $1 million. That was a wrecking.
Yeah, that's the deck for sure.
That was a game.
Now, the other thing I wanted to say about this deck is you can take it a totally different route. I've seen Vishkal decks that run, get this, and this is also a little bit CCO, but a little bit more combo-oriented than what I thought this deck was. I got the look again. Could run a couple tutors, fine, to find Liquimetal Coating. You tap, make something an artifact, okay? Tap Liquimetal Coating, make Vishkal an artifact, and then you play all of the Arcbound creatures. The Arcbound creatures have modular. When they die, you move their +1/+1 counters that they come onto the battlefield with onto Vishkal because now he's an artifact via Liquimetal Coating. With that, you play a whole bunch of different affinity cards that have affinity for artifacts, so you cast them for free. Mirror Enforcer and Frogmite and Artifact Lands, right? And you could also, in that deck, run an Aristocrats package with Falconwrath Noble, Blood Artist, Zulaport Cutthroat.
That's when a creature dies, your opponents lose a life.
Exactly. And you could also run that with a Junk Diver package that when an artifact hits the graveyard, you get it back, right? So you sacrifice your artifact, play your Junk Diver, get your artifact back, play it for 0 because it has affinity for artifacts, and then also have like a Faith's Reward package in there that lets you get your artifacts back from your graveyard to play, right? And you could just all loop that and loop that and loop that. It's the same way that we did it with Persist, except you're doing it with artifacts. And it all is possible through the modular mechanic with Liquimetal Coating.
I'm super excited to see that done with Joyra. The new Joyra.
Oh, dang.
Yeah, I'm super excited to see that happen.
It's almost like modular and artifact lands and stuff. We talked about that last week, how they're maybe a little bit broken.
Maybe, yeah.
You could run Jeet and Power Conduit as well. Jeet gives you counters and Power Conduit lets you move counters. All right? You could do that too. Because Jeet gives you 2 counters. And you could just tap and Power Conduit, move counters from something onto something.
But they're not +1/+1 counters.
No, Power Conduit lets you do that. It lets you remove charge counters and put +1/+1 counters on something.
Okay.
Yeah.
Neat.
There you go. Power Conduit. Maybe that's the card of the week. It's not even in the deck.
Speaking of that, what is the card of the week? Card of the week this week, a little beauty from Mirage in Phyrexian Tribute.
Oh, man, I love this card. I wanted to do a buyout on it because it's on the reserve list, and it's like 50 cents. I wanted to be that guy.
You wanted to be the dirt. You wanted to turn CCO into a bunch of dirtbags, hey? Well, a couple of dirtbags?
Yes.
One dirtbag and Brando? Is that what you wanted to do?
Well, based on the deck, I guess I am a dirtbag. I can't build a fair deck.
Turns out you accidentally built a deck with like 97 infinite combos in it in the one challenge where it was to build a deck that's 100% fair.
Dang.
You accidentally won the game. Oops.
I could have worse problems. CCO Nation, get your Phyrexian Tribute. Strengths and weaknesses?
Strengths and weaknesses.
Okay. Strengths, kill stuff despite not playing a huge removal package.
Yep.
Strength, unassuming with white reincarnation. Flies under the radar.
Strengths, accidentally wins the game in like 17 different infinite ways.
My bad. Oh, you know what we didn't talk about in the budget and cuts section? I just want to jump back real quick. Machias, Replenish, and Command Beacon, cut those. You save $108 off the deck, and that would make the deck under $130.
That's impressive.
Yeah, if you leave it the way that it is, it's $236.
Which is already not terrible.
Yeah, that's not very much.
And that's for like an actual solid win the game right now
yeah.
deck.
So strength, cheap to build. Doesn't have super expensive mana other than Command Beacon, which is an easy cut.
Yeah,
right?
you can cut that for...
We found umpteen ways to make infinite mana, like pay the commander tax.
Yeah.
Very tunable, right? We could tune more combos in. We could...
You could... Like this, all the combos in this deck were an accident. If you were actually going out to put them in, or just enable the ones that we have, you could play lots of tutors, because all of White's tutors will find your combo enablers for a deck like this.
And all of Black's tutors will find everything.
They'll find whatever you want, because they're the best tutors.
Yep. Okay. Weaknesses. I didn't use any of the big-time Vishkal sacrifice outlet creatures. So you're going to say, instead of a Blister Grub, you can do this instead. Instead of a Blister Grub, you could do a Kukusho. So instead of everybody losing 2, everybody loses 5 and I gain 20.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
I didn't do Grey Merchant of Asphodel.
Yep.
I didn't do that. I did a Caustic Hound. It costs 6. Right? Costs 6 to do 4 damage. Big deal.
And that one's to you as well, Caustic Hound.
Yes, that's to everybody.
Yeah, you don't want to go infinite with that. Grey Merchant of Asphodel is significantly better than that.
Exactly. And weakness. No reanimation combos. Oops.
Yeah, whoops.
To erase that out of the notes. Expensive commander. Costs 7. Right, we talked about that when we were doing the Damia Rats list. I think that was episode 29.
Yeah, where Damia...
39?
Damia would be significantly... She'd be too good if she cost less.
Yes.
You can't have anything that refills your hand that doesn't cost 7 or 8. Fill your hand every turn.
Should this guy cost 7 though?
I don't think so. I really don't. But
does that mean he's not a 5/5?
Yeah.
You make him cost 5 or 6. You make him like a 3/3.
You got to put him into bolt range. I think
so.
You got to put him into bolt range if you're going to make him cost any less.
Or do you just take away his abilities so he's a big dumb beater?
Well, then
he's got flying and lifelink, right?
Now he's a Legends card.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Could have been worse. And the other mistake in the show notes: no huge mana despite playing black. I'm not playing Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. I'm not playing Cabal Coffers. I'm not playing Crypt of Agadium.
Whoops.
Okay, forgot my phone today, first time ever, so I don't have the milk list. So maybe we just go straight into Spicy Calculator.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Okay, popularity on EDHREC.com. He is the 10th most popular Orzhov commander, and that means he has 281 decks only. Only 281.
Well, there's probably only... Well, I guess if it counts every individual deck, there's only so many things you can do with them. Maybe people were looking for more...
Maybe there used to be more, and then they flipped it to like an actual guy that doesn't cost 7.
That's a possibility
That's
too.
That's a thing, right?
Yeah.
Average converted mana cost, 3.45. Critical turn. I maxed it out at 5, but it turns out that, we're going to leave it at 5.
You could power out a Vishkal earlier, Catherine's Crusade the turn after that and just win the game.
Exactly. But optimal game size, I thought that this is going to be a big player kind of grind out value type deck like Lord of Tressorhorn deck.
Nope.
Turns out it's not really, but it could be. I'm going to leave it at 6. Optimal game size. You want this in a big game, I think. Vishkal's pretty big swinging dink.
Yeah, he'll win just as quickly in a 6 as he would in a 3.
Uniqueness rating. So this is the amount of cards that are different than the stock list on EDHREC.com. 43 cards different.
Nice.
Yeah. 0 tutors in the deck. Spicy Calculator. 64.
Nicely done.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad at all.
It turns out a dirty, stinking, degenerate combo deck is really spicy.
Go figure.
Now, it is the kind of combo deck that takes a big percentage of the deck to kind of get rolling. So, yeah, it's cool and spicy and funny when it goes off, and it's so accidental, it turns out, that that's not what you're trying to do. That's not what I was trying to do. But it turns out, it's pretty spicy.
Yeah.
It's a cool deck.
It's not bad at all.
Check it out. Where can you find it?
Checked it out at CCO Podcast on tappedout.net.
There you go.
That kind of brings us to the end of the deck tech portion of the show. But before we go, would like to take a couple of minutes to remind y'all that the giveaway of Opposition is still going, and that's for Facebook's likes and shares and getting the contest out there and getting CCO Nation to expand a little bit. If you do some kind of interaction with us, you'll be given some number of entries. So you can find us on Facebook to get all of those contest details. And we'll be drawing after next week's show. Included in the giveaway package is a plethora of cards from across Magic's history that me and Ryan have discovered that we effing hate, some of which have been donated to us by our generous playgroup. FU Alex actually donated an Aloro, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah. Aloro, the ageless, the original Eminence dude.
He's the piece of shit that started Eminence. Fuck you, Aloro.
Yeah, and we got an Autochthon worm.
Yeah, we did find that Autochthon worm, perhaps with an extra spicy CCO surprise on it.
Oh, yeah. There's always CCO surprises in those packages, isn't there?
Yes, there are. But there's pictures of the other giveaway cards up on our Facebook
yeah,
page
there's
now.
like real cards in it, right?
Yeah, check them out. Yeah, it's worth entering. It's not just cards that we hate because they're bad. It's cards that we hate because we just hate them, because they hose us or have done something terrible. Other than that, I guess we'll close it out by saying we opened the show by saying Orzhov is probably the most solid color combination that you can play. Not a lot of holes in the game plan, not a lot of holes in what you could do with the deck, as proven here, as it accidentally contained about 40 different infinite combos. Turns out even when you try and make it kind of bad, it's still pretty good. Speaking of things we're going to make bad, next week we're going to finish off the arc of Opposition with a Simic deck that doesn't make reference to the word counter. How the hell do you build a Simic deck that doesn't make reference to the word counter? You'll just have to wait and see on the next episode of Commander Cookout Podcast. Hit our theme song! Woo!